So, if you're easily offended, if you're a wet wipe, if you don't know what agenda you are when you get out of bed in the morning, if you don't understand what a joke is, then I suggest you don't watch this next few minutes, or just don't watch the entire video, to be honest, because you're just going to get offended, and, you know, that's your personal responsibility if you are. So, I'll get you some tissues if you need them. Yo, here we are, episode 2 of Controversial Conversations. So, today's conversation is about the car scene. Now, get a book ready, because that's how long I could sit here and write to you about the car scene. So we got to keep it in date, we got to keep it thorough, we've got to be honest, and we've got to be precise of what is currently happening in the car scene. So we're hitting the middle of 2022. I don't know where to begin, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarise my personal experience in the past year of the car scene, and then I'm going to talk about the car scene, the pros and the cons, the good and the bad, which is exactly like I did in my previous episode, which I'll put below, which was police versus the car scene. So let's begin with my story and my viewpoint on the car scene in the UK. Like, where do I start? So, you know, let's say we go from now, which is May, till May of last year. So this time in May, I was currently working towards a massive breakdown in my life. And that was entirely caused by the car scene, the police, because of the car scene, and my mental health within life. So that probably wasn't caused by the car scene, but the car scene was definitely a massive impact on how I was doing up here. So May, you know, I was running in Owned and around Beyond City at that time, and that was, again, those that can remember, last summer, that was again another record-breaking summer of big meets. We had the biggest one in Bristol, I think some of you guys can remember. I had the Lupo back then, and it was so big that it shut down Filton and all the rest of it. So obviously when I was in charge of running the page that I created, you know, mad things were happening. So I disbanded in September, which was by far the best choice I've made in this year in relation to the car scene. And what quickly ensued from that is I realised that all these people that I was surrounded with on weekends, all these friends, all these people that would be here for me, all these people that cared, all these people that are with me for life, have my back for life, well, they fucking didn't. And quite frankly, what I realised is the car scene is A, full of cunts, and B, full of snakes, mate. So what I kind of gathered from it all is I devoted 4 or 5 years of my life making that page what it was, and no one gave a fuck. No one cared. And man, I was, you know, towards the end of it, you know, August time, I was at meets and I was in tears. I was a wreck, mate. I wasn't sleeping. The police were really doing horrible things to me because of my role in running this page. And just every weekend, you know, every Friday night I was out finding locations, and every weekend we had 1 or 2 meets on. You know, when the hell did I have time to ever look after myself, look after my mental health? Never, because I was putting all of my effort into benefiting the car community. And the mad thing is this year's taught me a fucking lot, and that is that the car scene is not what it is shown as. Now, there's flip sides and arguments to both sides. I mean, we'll come on to later on about the car scene and the positives, but from my experience, how can I stand here and bullshit you and tell you that the car community is, as a whole, collective family, when it's just a fucking joke? Like, it's mad. So yeah, you know, all these massive friends and friendship groups, and it just vanished, you know, as soon as I came out of it, and especially when I pulled out of it and just went onto my kind of media side of things towards the end of last year. You know, the following went, you know, understandably, because wasn't doing so much cars anymore. I was doing a variety. But all those people that were meant to be there and all the other fucking shit they chatted, they weren't. So, you know, it is fucking madness, mate. You know. So that's my personal story in the whole year, and it's, do you know what? It's not a positive one. It's not good. I'm not bigging up the scene here. I'm not impressed with the car scene as a whole, especially the circumstance I've been put in now. I know there's a lot of you can say, wait, hold on a minute, Lewis. I've had some amazing things happen because of it. And do you know what I have? During the time of running Beyond City, I did have some good people around me. I did have some good support networks. And actually, some of those people are still in my life existing. Those I see weekly, those I see not so often, but they're always there, phone call away, etc. So it's not all bad. But the general perception was that. And, you know, no one gives a fuck. You know, they don't care. You know, and at times where we're meant to be coming together and helping each other out, they weren't there. No one was, you know. And if you're not the guy running the meets, the biggest meets, they'll be off for some whatever group, any other group, you know. It's just people just turn up, expect it to be ran, enjoy the night, and go home. You know, they don't care about what's involved, and not that I guess they should as such, but yeah, I feel like I did all that, and it's not that I was expecting something from it, because I wasn't. But I was expecting those relationships and those people that I'd met to be wholesome and great. And it just turns out it fucking wasn't, mate. So yeah, a bit negative, not a good start, but that is what it is. And you know, what I'm going to continue to say now will also carry that through as well, the message of just fucking cunts in the car scene, mate, because there's fucking loads of them. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about a few stereotypes we have in the car scene. We're then going to move on to local clubs. We're going to talk about clubs further away, and how the car scene is around that. And then we'll come on to the end on a finishing point of some sort, with the good things, you know, that have come out of the car scene and are currently going on, existing. And then I'll kind of finalise with some sort of ending to this video, because I'm pretty much making it up as I go along. So, okay. So let's be brutally honest about how I see the car scene is and the types of people we have. So, you know, there's that one person or group of people that are fucking vile, they're bitchy, they're stuck up, arrogant, they're just a total cunt. Now, what happens with these? They join a group, and a lot of you can relate to this. They join a group, and then, you know, they come to the group, don't get on, cause arguments, cause issues, and they get ejected from the group. Now, what this said cunt decides to do is they go, right, I'm a massive cunt, so because this group's been so bad to me, even though I'm the cunt, but that group's awful, but I'm, you know, I'm a cunt, but that group's the cause of it. Why don't I make friends with other cunts that no one likes as well, and then why don't we make our own group of cunts that we can all kind of, all the rejects and the fucking cunts can come together, and then we can make a group and we can slate all the other groups that we were cunts to because we're the cunts, but we're not in the wrong. So we have those. They're just like you just know them in the cast. Everyone knows them. Like, everyone knows them for a reason. It's never good, like whatever that might be. So they end up just kind of coming together and making a group full of them. You know, and it's just like, oh mate, like, I mean, I guess it saves other groups hassle, but it's just like another group, another club, You know, it's like everyone's wanted to give it a slice, give it a go, do their own thing nowadays. You know, it's going to get to a point where, like, there's going to be a meeting, you know, in every car park in Bristol at some point. The way it's going, so that kind of follows on with the fact that there's just so many bloody groups. Like, you know, every motherfucker's making a group, or those that weren't happy with how a group was ran, or, you know, didn't get on with anyone in the group, i.e. the cunts, go and just make their own group of cunts because they think that's the greatest thing to do, when it's just fucking the car scene up more. Now, for all you motherfuckers that are going to try and call me out on this one because they think, or they thought, I was being offensive or upsetting, you know, grow up. Grow up. But here we go. So, I'm going to quickly explain the difference. These people, they're out there insecure about themselves or their car. They're just miserable, hate their life. So what they do is they come to a car meet or an event, and they get an ego boost or enjoyment out of belittling people's cars, making people feel unwelcome, making people feel like their cars are crap because they're not expensive, not on air ride, not German. There's many examples. What this does by being a prick like that is people come to car meets for different reasons. Some people come because that is their release. Some people haven't got friends. That's their way to make friends, to meet new people. It might be the last thing they can cope with to help control their mental health and thoughts. God knows what people are going through. We don't know. Who are we to judge people's lives for what they're going through? But the problem is when that said person turns up and you're just being a total bellend about their car, shut the fuck up. Don't sit there and make someone horrible because of their car choice, because you have an opinion about it. Now, I'm not saying don't have an opinion because everyone has an opinion, just like they have a mouth. And equally, this whole respect all builds bullshit. Do you know why that fucking respect all builds is bullshit? It's because every fucker is entitled to an opinion. So that could just never exist. You can't have this respect all builds because it's never going to exist. Everyone's going to have an opinion on something. You can't, if it's respect all builds, then every build's perfect because every single person has to like it or respect it. It's not going to happen. So I'm not saying respect all builds. I'm just saying if you're a prick and you've got nothing better to say, keep it to your fucking self. Now, they're going to go, Lewis, you used to do that, Right, shut the fuck up. What I used to do at the meets was this exact thing for a reason. And this exact thing is triggering people. I did not sit there and hate and slag upon people's cars and what they drove intently with the idea in my mind to upset them or to belittle them to make me feel better. All I did do is call the lad in a Fiesta, a Mackie's boy, or the fact, you know, he sleeps with his mother, or he's a virgin. Now, that is literally all that is to do at the time when I was running the meets on the megaphone, was to get everyone a little bit piped up, get them a little bit triggered, so give us a send, give us a good exit on the way out of the meet. It was a bit of fun. It was a light-hearted laugh. Now, if you're offended by that, you're probably called Karen, you know, and you eat vegetables and nothing else. So, you know, if you try and say to me that I was the one at the meets making people feel whatever, you know, grow up. It was not like that at all. Purely banter, purely for everyone to have a little send and have a little laugh on their way home from the meet. So I would never sit there and make someone feel so disgusted and so belittled about their car. And you'll see within my videos that actually I'll highlight as many cars as I can. There'll be some cars, you know, £100 cars, £10,000 cars, and I will always get a great variety in there because I just love all the builds, you know. And we've got to start somewhere, guys. So you've got to remember, some of us, I mean, it's mad nowadays. Some of our younger lads have got better cars or more expensive cars than some of us, you know, older people, you know. It's just how it is. But we've just got to be respectful. And you know what? I'm not saying if you don't like someone's car, you know, that's fine. I'm trying to think of a car I don't like, you know. Nothing comes to my mind when I think about it. But yeah, I might not like a car, but what I'm trying to say is just don't be horrible to the owner, pick on the owner, say comments that they can hear, and things that's just going to make them feel unwelcome to the car meet and the car event, because they're not just there for the cars, but they're there for a deeper reason. So yeah, just don't be a fucking prick. Like, so in the car scene, we have the women. Controversial subject again. I could have made a whole video, but we'll just get it in here. So, some girls are in the car scene for the cars. And this again can be probably relatable for the guys. So, some of the girls are in the car scene for the cars. Not so common. Some of the girls are in the car scene for the boys that drive the cars. Don't act like you're not, because we know you are. And some of you girls are in the car scene to show us your bodies and your car. So that's the main sort of category girls fit under. And you know what? It's probably fairly similar with guys, to be honest with you. But that is what I'm seeing lately. Is there's a lot of potential girls that are in the car scene for the wrong reasons. So, you know, a proper car girl is going to work on her car as best she can, has an interest in cars, you know, and isn't doing it for any other reason but for that. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, if you're triggered by this, then maybe this is you, but there are some girls that are there, you know, just, you know, get with it. You know, there's nothing wrong with dating and all the rest of it, but there's some girls that are just there to, you know, potentially have a nice car, but don't really know what they're doing, don't really know much about cars, but just kind of there to find decent guys, money, nice cars, etc. You know, and then there are the ones that are there who, you know, some are debatably into cars and still do OnlyFans sort of stuff, and some girls are kind of not really into cars, just kind of use the car to bring men onto the page for the OnlyFans. You know, and I'm not judging, I don't care, don't care about OnlyFans, you can do what you want, you know, I'm not saying you're a bad person, you know, if that what makes you want to get up out of bed this morning, get some money, earn your bread, you know, that's how you do it. So I don't hate on that. But what I'm trying to say is I've just kind of seen recently in the car scene, you know, you used to have car girls, and you used to have the kind of girls that were after the guys, but now we've kind of got the OnlyFans sort of thing coming in. So it's just kind of something that's moving with the times, you know. And what a greater way to get OnlyFans following by having a sexy ass car, a sexy ass girl, and an OnlyFans account, you know. It's like works hand in hand, you know, and that is what it is. So, you know, us men can't deny it because we use OnlyFans. I actually don't, you know, just because I have a pair of tits myself, so I don't need to see them, or pay to see them. Because I see them every day. So yeah, I don't use that, and that is why. So we're going to settle down with two final, you know, fairly common traits I see within the car scene. So we've got the kind of 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, let's say up to 21, although, you know, that's debatable on age and how people drive. But we have the young drivers who have, for whatever reason, got a good finance deal, got a rich family, got a good job, etc., etc. But we've got the young drivers with the high-powered, high-performance vehicles at a young age. Now, yes, it's a recipe for disaster, and there's many cases showing that it's definitely a recipe for disaster. But what I'm finding nowadays, again, there's another sort of trait in the car scene, is, you know, there's a lot of younger people now that are driving some very mad, expensive, you know, mad quick cars. And what comes with that is the incoherent risk of crashes and danger to people at the meets. And I'm not saying that all young drivers are bad, but, you know, there has been an influx in a lot of, you know, crashes and incidents relating to high, you know, younger, inexperienced drivers with faster cars. So I think that's something you agree with as well in the car scene. That is becoming more common, and actually is becoming quite a serious issue. So swiftly on to the last one. There's many others. Yeah. So I mean, how do you even say it? So the whole bagged, stanced, vague but various other cars. Scene is quite a toxic, cliquey environment, in such that if you kind of don't have bags, you don't have the right car on bags, you don't really fit in with that kind of group. If you don't have the, decent wheels and air ride, and it isn't a decent, a quality branded name, then you're not really part of the crew. Now, a lot of you would deny this, but it is sort of true. And there's people I've spoken to before, I'll turn up in my RCZ, and those sorts of people would like look at me in disgust and wouldn't even give me the time of day. But if I drove the RCZ out and came back in, in a Golf, on 3 or 4 grand wheels on bags, then suddenly they would then make the effort to talk. So I feel like, it's a bit of a subculture itself, but I feel like they should be more accepting to all other builds. Not everyone can afford air ride, not everyone wants air ride, and some people like to be different and potentially, and I'm not saying they don't, because actually in the air ride scene there's a lot of cars that are put on air ride that are actually different, so I'm not saying that, but I think they've just got to understand that not all of us can afford to, want to, or want that as their goal with their car. So I guess it's just kind of having that understanding between people, so all that sort of static versus air ride stuff is, pretty mad. So, and I'm going to finish off with this. I said this last time, but I will now. So, they keep coming in my mind. So, another thing about the cast I've noticed is everyone's become very boring. Now, what I mean by that is you can guarantee now you'll go to a meet and you're going to see at least 2 or 3 Fiestas, 2 or 3 Focuses, 2 or 3 Golf Mark 4s, 2 or 3 this, 2 or 3 that, da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, what I'm saying is the car scene's got boring because you'll go to a meet. Now, not only will you see 5 of the same STs, Fiesta STs, around the car park, maybe in different colours, etc., but those then 5 STs have got all the same mods on them, pretty much. Now, what I'm trying to say is there's nothing wrong with a Fiesta or a Corsa, an ST, or a common car. But what I'm trying to say is people are almost modifying their car or buying cars to what the scene is about. So, rather than going out there, and being a bit crazy, like me, getting an RCZ rather than a hatchback, that is just what it is. Like, instead of buying a Fiesta and putting the same modifications on it and the same bits, I bought an RCZ that's a rare edition, and I'm going to make it my own, in my own way. And I wouldn't say the Fiesta or the RCZ are any better. Now, people have opinions, I hate Peugeot or Fiestas for McDonald's boys, whatever. But what I'm trying to say is like, people just don't, like, you always see with me, I've had a weird array of cars. Always like to be different. But what I'm just trying to say is people are buying the same cars, and then with the same cars they're buying, which isn't really a problem, they're then doing all the same mods and the same stuff. So you pretty much go to a car meet, and you're seeing half of the same car that's maybe slightly different colour, slightly different mods. And it's just a bit boring. Like, have a bit of imagination, guys, and stop playing it safe. Just because the car scene, everyone has Fiestas, and, everyone has Focus STs, and everyone has BMWs. I'm not saying they're bad, but because everyone has one, flipping get out there and get something different. Just be different. That's what the car scene's about, and being yourself and being different. So don't feel like you have to follow a trend, and maybe think about it. Next, if you're on the market for getting a Fiesta, you want a Fiesta, everyone's got one, etc., maybe think, oh man, why don't I go for a Colt? Why don't I go for a Yaris? Why don't I go for 1 Series? What do I go for? I just said BMW. What do I go for an A-Class? What do I go for a Peugeot? What do I go for a Citroen? Like, freaking spice it up and be cool. That's what we need, variation in the car scene. It's just something that there isn't much of anymore. So, the local car scene. So, there's not been too much going on. There's been a lot of small clubs, or that have began small, and have been building in the limelight. And the thing is, people still don't know about them. Now, Beyond City was, you know, running for 4 or 5 years, and you know, it almost like became the norm for people on a Sunday, BCCM UK. Now, you know, back from when I started it to where it got to, it got way out of hand. And do you know what? It was just freaking, you know, almost destroying the scene in a sense, because there was too much going on all the time. Although we were all over the Southwest. And so what I'm trying to say is basically is Beyond City's always been known every Sunday. It's the only thing in Bristol or this area kind of thing, you know. And it's the following, you know, I built up till September was around 9 something thousand, so, you know, a mad following. So the following was big, and everyone came, everyone travelled. It was mad. Now, subsequently, since I've left, you know, opinions are opinions, but apparently it has gone downhill. It still seems to have some sort of relative success, which is good for them. So yeah, I've heard mixed opinions about how it's been going. You know, obviously there's still a following there. There was a big following there. There's always going to be. Now, whether the meets are as good as they used to be compared to what they are now, I don't think they are. I've been told they probably are. You know, unfortunately, when you lose someone who was the heart and the passion and the drive for that page and made that page to an extent what it was, when you lose that, you're never going to regain that back. Now, there's been a few ploys who've tried to do that with, but it's just not worked, I don't think. Now, here's the thing. The tides are turning because the standard of the meets have dropped, and a lot of incidents recently, fucking mad things, Beyond City. What is going on? Mad things that have happened have put people off, and I've had a lot of people messaging me. I mean, you know, whenever I put a post up on my social about bad clubs, good clubs, they get freaking slated. And I'm neutral about the matter. You know, I don't really have a, you know, a pro or con. I was pretty disappointed in what I've seen the page has become, with some recent things I've seen online, which is just a bit sad, really. But what I'm trying to get to is the local scene has always been known as Beyond City. You know, they're now obviously Bristol City car meets, because they just meet in Bristol every weekend, all the damn time, which again was never what Beyond City was, but they roll. You know, because they're now in Bristol all the time, people just, you know, every Sunday, Bristol, 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 that sort of thing. Now, you know, some of the stuff that's been going on at those meets is insane. You know, some of the stuff I've been hearing and seeing, you know, like I've seen on TikTok a disgusting video from a few weeks back of, you know, a couple who are entitled to an opinion, okay? A couple coming over and complaining about the noise, etc. of the car meet. You know, now we all laugh, Karen, ha 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 ha, you know. Brush it off, you know, brush it off. But to then record a video saying BCCM beats up couple, and then to see people from the meet attacking this couple because they're unhappy about, you know, the noise and the nuisance that the meet's causing, you know, even though the organiser should have done the meet away from houses and away from causing that disruption, to then go and attack them, you know, A, makes the car scene look dreadful. It's already in a bad limelight as it currently stands, but then it's making you guys and your page and your ethos look thuggish, chavish, and, you know, just disgusting. You know, and there's been other instances of crashes and so forth, and you know, it happens at times, but the way it's been dealt with and the way it's been treated that I've seen, and a lot of people, I'm going by what a lot of people have told me and what a lot of people have said, you know, and from what I've seen, it's not been good. So, you know, Beyond City, sort yourselves out, get back to being beyond the city and actually doing meets out of Bristol, giving some breathing room for people who have got smaller clubs that want to do meets because they can't, because you do a meet and you ruin everyone's night. You tarnish every group's night because people are still going to your events. Now, the thing of it is, you know, that's them and that is what they're doing. But in the works of the local car scene and the community, there are some small groups that are doing it right. Now, we've got Freshbeck, who was, you know, a valid working partner of Beyond City that no longer is. Now, those guys are doing great. Their following is still very small, but the thing is, the more people that see and know these events happening are going to attend them. You know, so Freshbeck is one to go and watch. They're growing super well. Those guys have a good, strong team, and they have really good control of their events and their meets they do. Now, you know, we've got people like Wiltshire Car Scene that I've never even heard of, and now that sudden out of nowhere, these guys are freaking big. These are big groups. You know, we've got Revamp, we've got City Meets, we've got Active Car Club over in Wales, we've got Fast Car Checks up in Gloucester. You know, we've got Empire Southwest down the motorway. You know, there's loads of groups, but the thing is, no one knows about them because this whole Beyond City name is swamping the local scene. You know, and it's time for people to make a change, you know, and to come and enjoy something different. Now, in fact, this weekend, this Sunday, if you're watching this video this week, it's come out. This Sunday, there is actually a meet on that I'm going to be attending, which I've helped kind of put a few groups together. I'm obviously not in charge of running it, I'm just there to enjoy the night, but you know, there's a good load of groups going to that, and that'll be shared on my Instagram, so go on my Instagram, details will be on there for that. Now, that's going to be a vibe. Now, you could go to Beyond, or you could travel beyond over into Wales, which is where this meet's going to be, for what is going to be a night of absolute madness. So this is what I'm trying to say. The local scene has been quite tarnished and quite compressed by Beyond City. Not as much now, because, you know, they're only maybe doing 1 meet a week, you know, and, you know, it's not as bad as it used to be, but I think definitely Beyond City, you need to start moving around and doing what Beyond City used to be. Stop being lazy, and stop destroying Bristol, because all you're doing is using the same places, you know, and it means that clubs can't even hang out in certain places now because they just get kicked out because of your meets and what's been getting caused at those meets with the police. So sort it out, and take note, because do you know what, if you actually did the meets around the area, not just Bristol but surrounding, it would probably benefit you more than fixating it in a set place. Or at least if you're going to keep it in Bristol, change your name to Bristol City or Meets, not Beyond, because you're not really going beyond anywhere really. But anyway, yeah, so that is really the local car scene. You know, it's you know, it's one name and a variety of others which aren't really given the opportunity to shine, but they are there. So always feel free to message me if you need any recommendations for groups, you know, clubs or events that are on. You know, and I'm not saying that these other clubs haven't got, you know, bad things going on as well. I'm not just, you know, picking on Beyond City, but there's been a lot of issues recently, you know, and these issues don't seem to come from the other groups. So, you know, I'm just saying it just comes across the board, but this is what I've been witnessing and what people have been telling me, and opinions of people within the car scene at this current moment in time. And you'll probably see in the comments people will agree with that. So that is that for the local scene. So a bit like women, all the decent ones are always far away. The decent meets, or the best meets, are always the ones far away. Now, if we disregard the meet I went to at the weekend, up in MK, the one before that was superb. So the Milton Keynes, Northampton area, again, I need to go to the right club, is a madness, a mad vibe, mad night. So, you know, if you ever see a meet in Milton Keynes, freaking travel up there. Join me up there, join us up there. It's a good night. No questions asked. You know, you got London, head turners, haven't got much going on no more, but you've got, you know, a variety of clubs all around. You've got ghetto street meets. There's so many all around that area that are doing absolute mad things. So, to be honest with you, if you ever get the opportunity to save the money, or you have the spare money to travel to a meet, the Milton Keynes, London areas are madness. Portsmouth, Southampton, also madness. Not too common to get a meet down there, but they are madness. Like, you want to travel to those, so 100% check them out. Brum's Rockets, up north, Brumway, kind of outside Brum. Mate, madness. All I'm saying is, to summarise the car scene, you know, that isn't close to home, it's incredible. It's just so incredible. And just going there and seeing new faces, new people, new scenes, new cars, and none of this bullshit negativity and fucking crap and drama you get with some of the local stuff that's going on. So, you know, that's why I travel to meets, because the ones I go to are always very decent, bar the occasional. And, you know, they're well worth the extra money and the extra travel for it. 100%. Now, it's been fairly negative, but there are some positives in the car scene. Now, I hope we can learn from the negatives, we can accept the negatives, and for those, maybe those negatives are linked to, we can try and make changes to make it better. But again, it's my opinion, so you don't have to care anyway. But there's plenty of good, you know. So a massive thing that I've noticed over the past few years is the stigma of mental health, especially in men. Of course, for women, you're also just as valued. But the mental health stigma, you know, within the car scene, and what the car scene is trying to do to raise money for charities and so forth is amazing. So obviously it isn't very good that we've lost a variety of people, big people within the car scene from suicides and things like that. But it's very positive that the awareness is being brought forwards, and there's groups and clubs that are actively raising money for charities and are trying to focus more on the mental health side of the car scene, as well as the car scene there. You know, we're all there to celebrate one thing, we're all there to enjoy one thing, and that is the cars, and what they bring to our lives. So, you know, bringing that hand in hand with the opportunity to offer mental health support is really important. So that's definitely something, and the awareness of that's come in light very quickly. Now, another thing that I love that I've seen within the car scene is when there has been a tragedy where someone has gone missing, someone within a mental episode has put up a post that's worrying, or when someone within the car community has gone missing, you know, the car community rallies together. You know, there was a gent in London, you know, took his life, absolutely awful, but, you know, without this car community on social media, they would have never have got as close to finding him as they did. Now, it was still too late, and that is really, really unfortunate, but what it did do is, you know, that reached me. I'm not from London. That reached me only a few hours since, you know, since they had the message where he'd gone, etc., etc. You know, and I think it reached all over the UK, and, you know, the response and the grieving from the car community as a whole from this loss of this guy, a guy that I never even met. Even I felt the pain myself, and I felt like, you know, I could share on the car page and share around the car community, and people do come together when times are difficult and help each other out. So it does show that the car community has some amazing positives to it. You know, the car community as well has a variety of events, festivals, and all sorts happening all year round. So of course that is definitely a very massive pro to that. You know, going along to those events and attending professional organised days out, weekends away, are always super good. So, you know, there's a lot of good. There is a lot of good, and, you know, it's just about looking at the good things rather than the bad things about the car community. But it's hard for me because I would say I've been dealt in this past year very rough stick by the car scene, by the police, because of the car scene. You know, and because of being head of running a page which I no longer wanted to be part of for a variety of reasons. So it's been hard for me, but I can definitely sit here and say positively that the car meets, the car events, the cars themselves, and those people that I do value within this car community have been worthwhile and have made my life 100% more worth living. So to finish this video, you know, some of us might be offended, some of us might be upset, some of us might be having a laugh, but never take it too seriously, as it's just my opinion. But I hope you can see at the end of the day that within the car scene there's a lot of negativity. There is a lot of very horrible people, very disgusting people in the car scene, but you get them everywhere. You know, there's local clubs and scenes that are very toxic, and, you know, we've just got to come and rise above that and be there for the right reasons, and just be the kindest people we can be when we're there, because we never know what is going on behind closed doors. So let's enjoy the cars, enjoy the vibes, and just be friendly to one another, because at the end of the day, we're all there for one reason, and that is for the cars that create the scene.